Welcome to the Chrysalis Key read-along. My name is Ekta, I write under E.P. Barley, and I'm the author of this book, which is book 1 of a 7-book series called The Travellers. Full credit for this idea goes to author Elise Kovar of the Air Awakens series. When I read her book, she had written a read-along newsletter. I just thought I would do an audio podcast version instead. Read-alongs have been around forever, but I hadn't seen an author do one until I saw her, so full credit goes to her. So in this novel, there are 55 chapters and a prologue, so I'm going to be putting them into groups of 5, and we'll do a little audio episode for each group. So this novel was quite difficult for me to write, and any novel is challenging to write, but this series for me will be my most difficult, and I don't have any doubts about that. I never intended this series to be epic fantasy. I thought the book would be a lot shorter and a lot simpler. About the second draft in, I realised that there would be 8 point of views and that I would be heading well over 100k words, which isn't recommended for a debut YA, but this novel ended up being 135,000 words, about 500 pages in a standard paperback novel, and I wasn't expecting that at all. But the fact is, for me, I consider this to be my magnum opus. This series that I put my everything into. And when I start a series, I ask myself, how much effort is this going to need? And what is the scope of it? And how much mental energy is required to execute it? And this series literally takes 100% of me. I constantly think about it day and night when I'm drafting. The first scenes I wrote about 10 years ago, and these characters have been in my mind forever. I know their star signs, every character is in the ensemble cast, I know their backstories to the T, I know their parents' names, where they grew up. There are 5/7 main characters, and each of their stories could be a 7-book series in and of themselves, but like real life, their stories intermingle with everybody else's, so they come as a package, and I could never have written them separately, and believe me, I did consider that at the beginning, to split them all up, but it just wasn't going to happen. So music for me is really important, as you'll come to see. I have a song in mind for the series, one that represents each book, and a playlist for each character, and very often for specific scenes. There's one specific song that started the series for me, and to me represents the entirety of the story. I basically cry every time it comes on, and to me it's become the anthem for the Travellers, and it is Somewhere Only We Know by Keane. This is the song I listened to in the early days of conceiving the story, so I do owe it a lot. There's a song for this book as well. This song is the second one that comes to mind when I think about the series, and I instantly think of book 1, The Chrysalis Key, when I hear it. Not that you come to hear the song organically, although I did hear it on the Australian Voice the other day, and that song is We Can Be Heroes by a Gang of Youths. And specifically, I'm very visual, so when I think of like a movie trailer for this book, I see this song and a panning of the camera with Henry and Arnold riding their bikes to school down a sunny Brisbane road. Okay, so I'd like to talk about the prologue in this introductory video, and then with the next episodes we'll launch right in from chapter 1. So for me, a lot of people really hate prologues, and I'm the complete opposite. I love prologues. I have them in every single book that I write, including my middle grade novels, and often they're my most favourite scenes of the entire story, often because they're the most intense, they're full of tension and drama and action, and they're exciting. So for me, my first chapters usually come near the end of my drafts. I never write them first. And this prologue especially came much later in my process. This is my brother's favourite scene, and it was really tricky to write, and you'll see why as we read on. And for me, as an author, a prologue is a promise to you, the reader. From me, it says, this is some of my best writing. This is what you can expect from me. If you hold up through the setup chapters, there's going to be more of this. So I had so much fun writing this prologue, there's powerful magic, intriguing people, and best of all, a mystery. Why did it happen? What's going on here? And what does it all mean? So for those of you that don't know yet, the initial prologue for this story was quite a different one, and I couldn't get rid of it, but I didn't know what to do with it. So instead, I've made it available as a bonus scene/chapter for you guys, and I'm calling it a prelude to the Travelers series. So it's a prelude to the entire series, not just book one. And it is available to you straight after we finish this book together. I think it's best read after you finish the book. I think it'll have a different sort of feeling for you compared to if you read it at the start. So yeah, that is it for this episode. I will see you next with episode number 1, and I really hope you enjoy reading, and I will see you soon.